Hello everyone, Darren Rawlings for Emergency of War. And joining me at this time is Derek Maxfield. And Derek did a fantastic talk earlier about the prison camps during the 1864. Point Lookout was one of them, Elmira. You did mention Andersonville as well. What was life like for these guys in these prison camps?
It wasn't pleasant, that's for sure. Part of the problem with a lot of the POW camps is prisoners would go from one to another to another. It wasn't really that frequent that a prisoner would have an experience where they just were at one and they stayed there, you know. One of the reasons the disease ravaged these camps is, you know, they would go from Point Lookout, for example, exposed to all those diseases there, and then be sent to Elmira, and that would get spread through the population in Elmira as well. It's just a deadly thing.
Was there any difference between a Union camp and a Confederate camp, or were they pretty much the same?
Oh, they were all a humanitarian disaster, honestly. The problem is neither side really wanted to give any thought to it, you know. And when they did give thought to it, like with Union authorities in 1864, they wanted revenge, honestly. You know, they knew about Belle Isle, for example, or Libby. They knew about Andersonville eventually, and then they took it out on the prisoners in their care, which just made the whole story so much more grim.
And so you've written a book in the Emergency of War series about Elmira.
That's right.
And so did you actually go to visit the site for that research?
Well, I grew up near there.
Okay.
You know, the Elmira story is fascinating because I never knew it was there. So I grew up in this area all my life. I was in Elmira all the time. And it wasn't until I got to college that I had a professor say, well, there was a POW camp in Elmira. And of course, you know, stupid me, a student telling an expert, no, that wasn't possible. Because I'd know about that, right? And so then I had to go look for myself. And I discovered that Elmira wanted to hide the story. And the reason that people didn't know it was there is because this community was trying to hide the story. It really wasn't until the 1990s they put up the first monument and then began to talk about it, you know. And it wasn't even until after the Sesquicentennial that a group called the Friends of Elmira Prison began to actually build on the site.
Okay, and so during your research, did you come across any individual stories that really sort of touched at your heartstring?
Well, you know, the one that the man in the audience a few minutes ago is one that really touched me. It was the story of Buttons. Buttons was a Confederate, very big, quiet man. And he was a mystery. He was a total mystery to everybody at the camp because he just moped around. He didn't say anything, large man. And he had this big frock coat covered in buttons. Just everywhere covered in buttons, right? And nobody could figure out what this was all about, right? Until a guard finally got the story out of him that each button represented a man that he had killed.
Oh, wow.
And it was his second such coat.
Oh, wow. Yeah, very powerful. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Emergency of War. So what does Emergency of War mean to you?
Oh, my God. The opportunities provided me by the emerging Civil War are countless. You know, it's 10 years now. 10 years now that I've been at this. And I've met such remarkable people, had such incredible experiences. I never would have published a book without emerging Civil War. You know, Chris Mikowski and Ted Savas have been so kind. I just really, it's been life-changing. There's nothing about it less than that. Just life-changing with the opportunities and the people that I've met. And the symposium just kind of tops it all off, you know?
Yep. Well, thank you for taking the time out to come and speak to me.
My pleasure.
Thank you for watching. Remember, go and search for Emergency of War at emergencywar.com. You'll find all the blog posts on there. There's loads of free content every day, blog posts, and of course the ECW series. All that is left to say is we'll see you online and on the battlefield. Cheers.